welcome to episode 3 of Pilar in the Parks. We are in one of the most well-known parks in the world, Central Park. But we're not here for what you might think.
It is probably the biggest trophy in the world of collectors right now. Really trying to meet the guests where they are, bringing the thrill of pins to New York.
Disney cast members did just that while hosting a retro-themed pin event at the flagship two-story store.
Yeah, guys, take your man out. So I know we're wrapped up. We're a little behind schedule. There are a lot of guests inside, so we're trying to get them outside so that you guys can get in safe.
500 ticketed guests lined up early in the morning for their chance to score some new, exclusive designs. The doors opened at 7 a.m., but Disney Parks blog said longtime pin traders and those newly discovering the hobby came together to grow their collections, chat in line, and plan out their purchases long before that. One of the highlights, pin vending machines that offered some limited edition metal of retro villains that opened up to the VHS tapes they first appeared in decades ago.
You've been interacting with guests. What sort of feedback have you gotten?
It's been resounding. Our general manager here and our lead over events did an amazing job strategizing and putting this together, and the guests have responded. You know, they really love the fact that it's been special. They feel that they've been interacted with. They feel like they've been treated with just great grace and courtesy. So it was really, really flattering to hear that the guests enjoyed what we put on today.
When you think about these pins, and I'm going to go over here, some of these pins are going to be traded in parks, on cruise ships, on the street. These pins are now out in the world.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's exciting. I think anything that brings magic closer to our guests, we want to perpetuate it, we want to support it. So we have the ability to meet our guests where they are and give them a piece of that Disney magic and put it out in the world. We're going to continue to support it and do it that way, because every time one of these pins exchanges hands, that's us also reaching out to a new guest.
Here at the pin trading event at the Disney store in Times Square, New York City, it might not be a park, but you can trade these here and at any of the Disney parks worldwide. Well, you'll find other guests with pins, cast members with lanyards, and even boards that you can trade.
If you stick around till the end of the show, you will get to see which beloved Disney characters I got in the 2 mystery pin boxes I purchased at the Disney store in Times Square. Back here in Florida, it's race weekend at Walt Disney World.
All right, everybody, hello. We are at ESPN Wide World of Sports. As you can see here, it is Run Disney Springtime Surprise Weekend, and we are outside the merchandise shop where you can see there's people waiting to be called for their queue here behind me. And the things that are featured the most during this event are some new Brooks running shoes featuring Genie from Disney's Aladdin, and Winnie the Pooh. Guess what? It's his 100th birthday this year, so that could be why they chose him. The crowds are pretty thick.
Once shoppers entered Advent Health Arena, it went from one line to another to another.
Here they are. This is what everybody's here for. 2 new styles this year, 3 returning. The blues are returning, right here, returning. New is Genie and new is Pooh.
Shoppers were able to try on some generic Brooks running shoes before going and buying the prized possessions.
I can't believe how long this wait is.
Massive crowds showed up the first day of the Run Disney Health and Fitness Expo. Merch featured everything from clothing to gear, and yes, even pins. Like what you're seeing? Be sure to follow me and the show on social media.
Please join us in recognizing this remarkable American hero. A heartfelt thank you to U.S. Navy Pharmacist's Mate 2nd Class Charles Cram for your brave and outstanding service to our nation.
From the most magical to the happiest place on earth, Disneyland recognized 100-year-old World War II veteran Charles Cram at the daily flag retreat ceremony in Town Square recently. Along with receiving a framed American flag flown over the park in appreciation for his service, Cram and his loved ones were treated like VIPs.
I feel very fortunate to be recognized because nothing that I'd ever done in my life, even though I played basketball in high school and one thing or another, ever led me to have any notoriety whatsoever. So it's been very encouraging and I appreciate it.
Admiration for the U.S. Armed Forces is an important part of the Walt Disney Company's more than 100-year history that began with founders Walt and Roy O. Disney, who both served their country during the First World War.
Disney honors our service members, veterans, and their families with our daily flag retreats on both coasts. We have special ticket offers and also initiatives like Heroes Work Here, where we hire, train, and support our military talent. This is a flag, and it was flown over Disneyland Park. So again, from all of us, thank you for everything that you've done, and we hope that this is a wonderful memento for you and your family.
That's a wonderful tradition. Thank you.
The tradition is ramping up even more as Disney parks prepare to commemorate America's 250th birthday.
Yalmaz, thank you so much for joining us today. Happy Earth Month, and we're wrapping it up here. It was Earth Day on Wednesday. Really appreciate your time. If you wouldn't mind, let's talk about these solar efforts that Disney is doing, not just here in the U.S., but worldwide.
Yes, we are doing solar efforts worldwide. But first, let me just say thank you so much for speaking with me and being interested in solar at Disney. And we've had a really long history. Decades ago, we started our first solar arrays, and now we're at nearly, over 250,000 square kilowatts of solar across our entire portfolio within DX alone, and even more in our company more broadly within Disney Entertainment and corporate real estate and others. So we are really committed to solar around the world.
There is, when you think about a parks, let's do Disney World, for example, let's just say Magic Kingdom, so much power, so much electricity to run a park like that. When we're talking about the solar efforts, it's not just for, the lights in the Emporium on Main Street. It's not just for, the gates where you got to scan in. We're talking about attractions as well can be solar powered.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, let's think about this as power is coming into the entire park, the entire Walt Disney World Resort, all the parks, Magic Kingdom, Disney Animal Kingdom, et cetera, et cetera. And on hot days in summer, basically everything that uses electricity is powered by the solar arrays that we partnered with others. So it's a lot of electricity that's coming in right from the sun through our solar panels into the park for hotels, for rides, for the lighting. Everything is powered on hot days in summer. The peak demand is met by our supply.
And at the water parks.
And the water parks as well, absolutely everywhere. Like think about a few moments in a hot day, and we're totally covered. We have about 212,000 kilowatts of solar capacity there, and that's generating, with that plus the other solar arrays across the entire company, that's enough to power a small city. It's a really substantial amount of green electricity that we are sourcing or producing ourselves.
I have noticed the solar, is it a farm right there by Epcot, or what's the proper term for it?
You can use farm if you want, you can use project, you can use site, you can use array. There are many different terms for the same thing. And it's basically a whole series of solar panels next to each other, generating power for use by either a single customer or by multiple customers.
Yeah, I didn't know it was Mickey shaped though when I saw it.
Yes. Well, we have one. That's actually, I've heard that's one of the most photographed solar arrays in the entire world, Pilar, which is really fun. It's not the only one in our system that is, it is the only one in our system that's really shaped in that wonderful way. Most are fairly typical, using the land that's available in the most efficient way. But that is certainly a famous one, and thanks for noticing it.
So I mean, everybody knows, solar, going green, but if you wouldn't mind from the Disney standpoint of it, why is it so important to provide this type of energy?
Well, there are many environmental reasons to do this, but there's also many business reasons to do this. In a way, we help become more resilient. We've got our own power generators right there at the parks where we need them, right? So we're resilient. If there's any issue with the grid going down for a second, we've got our own power, right? Also, certain structures are really good economically. Some we have to pay more, some we pay less, some it's about the same. So sometimes it can be really helpful. On the islands that we talked about before, there's resilience as well. Like we can keep things going if the generators run out, or we just got solar capacity that helps us be resilient, and sometimes it's really good for business. It's also part of our company's environmental goals. So we have these goals for 2030, including a commitment to get 100% of our electricity from renewable or zero carbon sources. So it's part of that as well.
And we're talking about reducing annual greenhouse gas emissions by more than 140,000 metric tons. And these numbers are over an average year. We're talking removing nearly 33,000 gasoline powered cars from the road each year, powering 19,000 homes with energy for an entire year, and charging 15 billion smartphones, these little guys.
Yeah, that's a fun one. And then that data is from Walt Disney World. The 19,000 homes is Walt Disney World alone, and that's, as I said, a subset of all the other projects in in the parks around the world and in our Disney entertainment and corporate real estate locations as well. So it's 19,000 is a lot. There's even more if you add it all up around the world.
Yeah, and we're talking about powering the monorail for 34 years, according to the Disney Parks blog. That's almost as long as I've been alive. I'm not going to say my exact age, but
you could go back and forth on the monorail every day for decades, and you'll be fully powered by the sun. A renewable trip.
All right, I have to segue here. I am an electric vehicle owner. Matter of fact, I own 2 electric vehicles out here in Florida. It's really important because we have hurricanes. I've lost power for 3 days straight after a hurricane. I plugged in my coffee maker, my waffle maker, my everything into my car in order to survive for those few days. But out in California, the resort, Disneyland Resort, is also getting some new EV chargers. Is that what I'm hearing as well?
Yeah, a lot of that fleet is in the process of converting to electric. Not all our vehicles are going to move electric because sometimes they're just not available. Sometimes it makes more sense to just have a diverse fleet. But certainly we've got a lot of chargers going in, a lot of electric vehicles as part of Disneyland.
Yeah. And I'm trying to see, of course, we've got the resorts in Asia, Hong Kong Disneyland, Shanghai Disney, just looking at some of the wow, as of late last year, it appears at Shanghai Disney, all applicable backstage rooftops and facades have installed solar panels. So that's impressive. You're not just having the solar arrays like we talked about. There's other places they're going as well, right?
Yeah, there's a real mix, and it really depends on location. It depends on the regulatory environment, the governments we work with, or the developers that are there. Sometimes we have it on a rooftop. Sometimes we have it in a field, like we have mainly in Walt Disney World. Sometimes we have a carport. So at Disneyland Paris, we have Europe's largest carport solar array. So you can park your car, you're covered by a shade structure that protects you from, there's a lot of rain in Europe, right? It protects you from the rain, and then you can go to the park and your car is covered by solar panels. It's kind of fun.
Oh my goodness. So I know there's one attraction in particular that I wanted to mention at Disneyland Resort that is powered by solar energy, and that's at Disney California Adventure, and that's Radiator Springs Racers. Is that correct?
That's right. It was quite a while ago that we put 100 kilowatts of solar 400 kilowatts of solar on Radiator Springs, and that's enough to power about 100 homes in Anaheim in that region. So yeah, there is solar everywhere.
Oh my goodness. You're in New York currently. You told me you've been talking about a lot of these sustainability efforts this week. What do you think the interest is now that people are want to learn more about this and are just kind of paying attention?
Yeah, I think there's many, many reasons. I think this generation is the first to really see a lot of media attention on environmental matters, whether it's related to nature or related to waste or whatever. So there's just an interest, I think, in general. And often, actually, this environmental stuff that I talk about, and I've talked about for many years as an corporate environmental executive, a lot of it is actually also very good for business, in terms of resilience, in terms of managing costs, in terms of hedging energy prices. So a lot of good reasons to do this, economic as well as environmental. But I do think the media has a role as well. There's been a lot of conversation about environmental matters in the media over the last 10, 15 years, and that makes people aware and interested.
Yeah, when you're talking about the business side, I mean, it's one thing to go to a park and see a solar array, whether you notice it's Mickey shaped or not, or it's on a rooftop, or there's more electric vehicle chargers available and the like. But from the business perspective of when you think about the Walt Disney Company and how large it is, and when the business side is saving money, that trickles down to the guests. The guests have, cheaper ticket prices and other experiences and the like, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I see this as long-term cost savings are possible from environmental matters. Now, it's a portfolio, right? Sometimes you pay more because you want to do that in part of your goals. Sometimes it's about the same. Sometimes it saves money. So that's the sort of way I think about environmental matters in the business context. Different reasons to do things, sometimes economic reasons to do environmental things as well.
Oh, the guests, they see it, they notice it. A lot of guests, they want to see if there's anything that they can do to give back or to help or to assist in terms of not just solar, but environmental efforts as a whole. Do you have any sort of advice or feedback for guests?
I mean, honestly, I would put it back to what are people interested in their life? Are they interested in water? Are they interested in green energy? Are they interested in electric cars? Are they interested in waste reduction? So ask yourself as an individual, as a human being, am I interested in nature? Am I interested in water? Am I interested in energy? And then research what you can do in that dimension. So it could be water conservation in your home. It could be, putting solar panels on your own home as a way to support renewable electricity. Might be buying an electric car. It might be reducing plastics in your life, right? It depends on what you are interested in as a human being. And that's a very individual choice. It's like your freedom. What do you care about? Work on what you care about.
Speaking of working, if somebody wants to get into this industry to help Disney with their sustainability efforts in the future, do you have any advice for them?
I have a very, very good piece of advice. Okay, Pilar. Many people, when they think they want an environmental sustainable job, they, sometimes rightly think that they want to get a job like I have. I'm lucky enough to have worked on environmental sustainability in companies for 20 years, in different companies, now honored to work at Disney on these matters. But what the world needs more than more people like me working in a corporate environmental job where 100% dedicated to environmental sustainability is people in every function across the company, from custodial to entertainers to facilities people to people who develop rides and people who buy food, people who serve food. We need people everywhere that have an environmental mindset to bring that into their own role so that they are collaborating with central environmental teams, supporting the goals, advancing them in their own unique way wherever they are. So you can get a job anywhere in Disney or in any company, and you can support your environmental interests through that role. And then if you really want to commit, then get a degree, get a master's in environmental sustainability, and work for a team like mine. And we are very happy to get lots of resumes in the environmental team. We love it when people are interested in this sort of stuff.
Anything else you want to tell me, Yalmaz, that maybe I didn't get to ask?
We love what we're doing environmentally, as well as everything else as a company, and appreciate you recognizing that for Earth Day.
Yeah, and it's going to continue, I'm sure.
It will. Yeah, we've got 2030 goals, and then we'll see after that. We might have 2040 or 2050 goals. We'll keep going. We have a long legacy of this, starting with Walt, and continue to the future.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. So we are on the flight home, and I'm trying to make sure that I don't get any of the other people behind me. But we did buy 2 mystery pins during the event. I'm going to open them right now and see what we got. This one is, I think it's Mickey, which we're very happy about. It's Mickey!
Oh, nice.
Okay, let's see what the second one is. The choices are right here on the side, you can see. Gotta zoom out a little bit. There you go. We got Mickey, that's great for first one. Let's see what the second one is. Oh, it's different. It's Daisy. Adorable.
I couldn't end this episode of Pilar in the Parks without letting you know about 2 ride reopenings at Walt Disney World Resort this May. On May 3rd, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad will reopen with what Disney Parks blog calls new magic. So that's going to be a pretty exciting time there. You can see this rendering of how the rainbow caverns are going to look. They say they aren't as friendly as they first appear. So again, that is May 3rd. And then from Magic Kingdom all the way to Hollywood Studios, where the Muppets have taken over an iconic ride, Rockin' Roller Coaster. This is a favorite for a lot of people. After removing the Aerosmith theme and bringing in the Muppets for the Electric Mayhem's biggest night yet, reopening officially happening on May 26th. So May 3rd and May 26th, no doubt the lines are going to be pretty long at both parks.